Hello and welcome to another Writers Showcase. This may be a short one, depending on if anybody wants to come on. I made sure to notify people that it would be happening today, but the problem is a lot of people are not available on the weekdays in the afternoon. But we will take a look and see how this one works. So bringing on so far the only guest, but we will bring him on anyway. Please welcome Count Valerian.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have a question for you, Mr. Pop Culture Media Expert. What the blazes is this? And let me play that for you. Wait, not her.
Well, the influence of the film
Wait, it's coming.
is far-reaching and has found its way into shows that no one could call Cockney musicals. Our favorite diet. And in the 21st century.
What the blazes is that?
I don't know, actually. I don't know what that
Is that they didn't remake the Jungle Book, did they? Hello?
Yes. Well, the answer to that is they have remade the Jungle Book multiple times, but that's not one I recognize.
Okay. I just wasn't sure. All I know is that this lady thinks that it's influenced by the Cockney musical, and she's done a whole thing on that, but that's by the way. And hello there. Okay, indeed. So let me see.
All right.
Are we ready for more Count of Monte Cristo in, I was going to say outer space, but no, in Middle Earth.
That one was something.
Are we going to watch more of that? Because it's
You know, I kind of want to, actually.
I'm having fun with that.
It is very interesting how accurate it is.
Yeah, it's sort of weird because they have France being hostile to the Count, but they don't tell you why. In the book, he's more suspicious than hostile, and they give a reason for it because he caught the Count plotting with a bandit at a popular tourist site because why wouldn't one? I mean, because why not? Let's just go to that Statue of Liberty and plot and do some plotting. No one will notice. So I'd quite like to watch more of that. If we're going to do more of that, maybe we can do more of that like tomorrow or whenever.
I'd be down. Yeah, that does sound fun.
Yeah. So in this one, we reached the point where the Abbe Frodia has told some more about the treasure, and we'll carry on. Is there in the world no more legitimate heir than we? Inquired Samoir hesitantly. None, I assure you, mon fils, said Frodia. After the death of Sauron and Fredegario, an end came to all legitimate owners of this property in Terre Moyenne. If ever we escape together from prison, we shall share our blessing. If you escape alone, it is yours. I have no right to it, protested the younger Hobbit. Its totality should belong to you. No, my son, you are the child of my captivity. Eru has sent you to me in order to console both the Hobbit who could not father children by Cassiope de Tuc and the prisoner who could not be free. The two hobbits continued their digging as best they could, given the frail condition of the Abbé, who, as he had warned Samoir, was subject to epileptic attacks on the 6th of Narquelaire and 13 of Sulimoes of every year. Oh, half a second. You know what might help a little bit would be if I shared a different screen. What do I know? Don't do that. Sorry. I thought I was muting it. I want to share a different screen. Let me see. Sorry, this will just take 1 second. Let's see. There we go. There. Sorry about that. On account of some unfortunate incidents involving rings and spiders, and about which the savant was not very forthcoming, it was therefore vital that they finish the excavation before the latter date, which, according to Frodia's calculations, was due to arrive in 21 days. Should I succumb, pick some atela from the secret garden I cultivate on the rat droppings in the west corner of my cell, said the Abbé. Crush it and moisten it with the appallingly poor wine they serve here, and then apply it to my forehead, saying the rhyme, when the soufflé noir is overdone, and shadows of death and shadow of death trasks Carcassonne, and all lights perish, avec grand fracas, come atela, life for the dying, in vain ordinaire lying. Repeat the rhyme now. Gamgez did so, having instantly committed it to memory. Alas, they reckoned not with the new old calendar instituted by Aragon the 19th, which caused the date to arrive some 5 days before they expected it. So it was quite sudden and unexpected when the pallor of death whelmed Frodia's face like a frost in spring. His eyes gazed forth as if seeing things far away. No, cried Samoir, grief-stricken. Not when we were so close to attaining our goal of liberty. Liberty, yes, said the Abbé, but not for me. It must often be so, mon cher Gamgez. When things are in danger, someone has to give them up, lose them, that others might keep them. But you are my heir. All that I have or might have had I leave to you. You will be the Count of Montefato, and Lord Adam made-up name, and the Abbé Glorfindoni, and Earando le Marin, and perhaps more aliases that I cannot see. And you will excel so much at every field of knowledge and of human endeavor that, were you a woman, people would believe you are Marie Suzanne. When you puff on your Nazgule and imbibe the exquisite Bordeaux wine you will buy with the treasure, while being massaged by beautiful odalisques, think of me. So saying, he lost consciousness. Samoir Gamgez tried everything that the good Abbé had taught him of medicine, but in vain. Frodia was dead, or, as one says in Arnor, he had trépassé. And Samoir wept bitter tears and almost resumed his earlier dark thoughts of suicide. But no, he wished to live and to take vengeance on those who had wronged him. So before long, his mind turned to thoughts of escape. Though the digging was complete, he found his flight hindered by yet another obstacle, more redoubtable than the castle wall itself. The Silent Watchers. These were the most horrible abominations of the Ancien Régime, 2 white marble statues seated upon thrones, each with 3 bodies and 3 heads topped with powdered wigs, facing inward, outward, and across the doorway. They seemed immovable, and yet they were aware. Occasionally, they even quoted Racine. Therefore, Gamges controve another plan. By now, the authorities had discovered the abbé's death and had him wrapped in a shroud. Quickly, Samoir moved Frodia's remains to his own cell and then hid himself in the shroud. Reckoning that after burial he could easily delve his way to the surface. The only mild hitch was that he was not interred at all, but tossed into the tempest-torn sea, the graveyard of the Chateau de Lochhol. Okay, I think I can read a little bit of the next chapter. This is chapter 4. A catastrophe. Combining his remarkable skill in swimming with the roping talents he had acquired from his uncle André, Samoir swiftly released himself from the sack and swam underwater for 7 leagues until he judged himself distant enough from the Chateau de Lochhol to emerge from the watery abyss without that his erstwhile captors perceived him. The nearest land was 2 leagues distant. Observing Riley that he did not possess Elouine's talent for transforming into a seabird when far from land, the intrepid hobbit made a supreme effort and pulled himself to shore, where he collapsed, passing out of time and knowledge. When he awoke, he found himself surrounded by masked outlaws dressed in Lincoln green. "Would you care for some venison?" said the leader. "It's not quite first rate, since we ran out of more dough when the Tarks confiscated it several moons since. But I hope it will serve. To a starving man, I am sure it will be more than adequate," laughed Gamges, and promptly threw himself on the rather rare meat his benefactor held out for him. "To whom do I owe this favor?" he inquired. "I am Guillaume de Ferny, contrebandier de tabac." That is a smuggler, tobacco smuggler, replied the outlaw. "Parbleu, I was so frightened by your uncut foot hair that I very nearly left you for dead, though you still seem very strange to me. Outwardly, you resemble a vagabond utterly devoid of sartorial talent. Yet within, you are an epicure de premier ordre, I deem." "It is a marvelous occupation you have," said Samoir, evading the implicit question. "If you don't sell your merchandise, you can always use it yourself. As for my foot hair, I made a vow not to cut it for a year after Lutien obtained for me admission to the chambers of Madame de Magot, queen among farmers' wives. But speaking of years, exactly what year is it?" "What year? You ask of me what year it is?" "Yes, I ask of you what year it is. How do you not know?" "What do you wish?" laughed Gamges. "I have been in such fear of my life, having eaten but 4 meals today, that I cannot distinguish calendrier d'histoire from champignon Olympe. This is the year 1829 of the Computation Chilienne, the Shire reckoning, replied one of the smugglers. Samoir smiled sadly. So he had been in durance vile for 14 years. Did his former bride, Rosé Des, even realize that he was still alive? The leader regarded Gamgez appraisingly. Do you have any talents? He asked at length, other than gourmandise, that is, at which it is well known that all hobbits excel. I am one of the best mariners in the western half of the Mer Ondorienne, replied Gamgez without hesitation. I will show you. I will execute a Syrian tirade à triple lutz upon your vessel, and if I fail, you can kill me. Excellent, smiled de Ferdy. I have not killed anyone in weeks. Gamgez laughed immoderately and performed not a Syrian tirade à triple lutz, but a quadruple élondilage à nianorette fricassée. You're hired, said de Ferny when he had recovered from his complete stupefaction. Naturally, Samoir, or Erando le Marin, as he preferred to call himself, fairly promptly became the de facto leader. He determined to exploit his new status to find the Isle of Montefato, but permitted no sign of this purpose to evince itself. He carefully counted the days after the Abbé's death, recalling that the savant had predicted that Durin's day would arrive 23 days after said death. Frodia, of course, knew all calendars, save the new computation that proved his downfall, by heart. Our food supplies are running somewhat low, he remarked, when he realized that the day had dawned. Does any island here offer good game? Of course, he knew the answer well, given his exact recollection of every detail upon which the Abbé had instructed him. Why, yes, the Isle of Montefato, said Gumlino, an old retainer from Ariadorsica. Bingo, thought Gamgez. Then we should surely head there, he suggested aloud. If Monsieur de Ferny wishes it, of course. Monsieur de Ferny merely grunted, and so the decision was put into effect. Now, reflected Samoir as they set sail, I will learn whether Frodia's teachings regarding Montefato are sure as Chardonnay or cheese from Brie, to use a rustic proverb of which the good Abbé certainly would not approve. The outlaws followed every order given by the Dunlande, as they called their new leader, with joy, almost with ravishment. So clear, precise, and reasonable were his instructions. The sea was calm and as azure as the deep of the coast of Alatar, and of an azure as deep as the coat of Alatar. And the silmarils of Eru illumined the heavens with the luster of Valinor. In due course, Gamgez's desiring gaze beheld, soaring above the liquid sapphire of Ulmont, the flaming summit of the Isle of Montefato. Strange and marvelous shapes he saw, resembling bits of lava that had cooled and lay like dragon forms out of the heraldic pipeweeds. Samoir devoured with his eye the mass of rocks that passed from vivid pink to dark blue. Never had a gambler whose entire fortune was in jeopardy experienced, at the toss of a die, such anguish as now agitated Samoir in the paroxysms of hope. Nay, not the king of the sorcerers and Earneur at the pinnacle of destiny. When the ship landed, Gamgez, despite his habitual dominion over himself, could not restrain himself from leaping to shore first. Had he dared, he would have kissed the soil of the island whereof he had dreamt as one dreams of a mistress. I will go alone in search of game while the rest of you set up camp and fish and try out the Monte Oyoloseo wine, he said out loud. His companions were content with his plan, and so Gamgez, having regarded them for a moment with the sad and indulgent smile of the superior man, set out alone for the island's summit. Let's see, how many more pages are there of this? Let's see. Let me go back. How long have I talked?
It's been 21 minutes.
Okay. In that case, we'll have to put off the climax of this chapter until next time.
That makes sense. Alrighty. Well, it is very amusing, I must say.
Uncut foot hair, yes. Foot hair, I mean. Yes. Okay, yes. More Monte Cristo parody, yes. No comment. No comment. I wouldn't know anything about that.
Just like a bit. Trip, you're so funny.
Trip is a trip. Coward, she says.
What do you think? I did read that one. You preempted me. I said just like Amanda.
You read it.
I did. Yeah, I did read it. You missed.
Yeah, I mean, give him credit. He if you want to call it credit or blame in this case, I don't know.
Oh, I meant Perion. Oh, she means you.
Oh, you've angered me.
No, she hasn't.
Boulder. My wrath shall fall. My wrath shall thunder forth like the thunderbolt from hell. Please let me anger you, she says. What would happen if Cedar, Becca, and Trip got merged together in a transporter accident?
I'm
going to say nothing good.
Why ever not? It would be amazing.
Cedar and Brightness Becca.
I don't know.
Maybe she doesn't know them.
Oh no, she knows Brightness Becca very well. They are good buddies.
Oh yeah, yeah, but I don't know if she might not know Cedar because Cedar was.
She does know Cedar.
Okay.
They've met. Me and who? Oh.
I'm in a man-hating tear right now. Were you rude to Blightlord?
You might say that. I'd say that. I asked, hey, can we transition to? Yeah. You do not want to add any more. Yeah.
3 integrated personalities. Oh dear.
Yeah.
At least they're integrated. That's good.
Yeah. Indeed. So yeah, me and Trip are just friends right now. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we're working through things. but she's a little mad. I didn't quite do thing. I did things and I kind of handled things a little bit badly, and so we're still working through that. But we will, and we're still going to be in a healthy friendship.
Well, you know, I always say friend zone is fun zone.
Okay, quite mad. I know. My hope is that we will look back on this and laugh about it later. That's my hope.
Well, it sounds like you're laughing at it now.
Anyway. Alrighty.
Anyway,
Yeah,
indeed.
I did what? WTF to Valerian just say he said friend zone is fun zone.
Friend zone is fun zone. You don't have to worry about us. You can just have fun.
Are you and I friends then?
I think so. Sure, why not? I thought you already were.
Want to be my friend?
I thought we already were, sort of. Maybe we're just.
I think that she is tooling with you. She's in a playful but aggressive mood today.
Oh, okay.
Shall I introduce you to my friends?
No comment.
You know.
Should we have a little rain, do you think? Nice weather we're having.
Oh my gosh. It is so funny.
Actually, it's not such nice. It's cold. Did I turn the heat off? Well, let me see. No, I did. I'm getting a cough attack.
I'm trying to change your perspective.
That sounds pretty profound.
Alrighty.
I'm not sure I'm ready for that degree of profundity. Oh, Codex chose just this moment to turn up.
Hey, Codex.
You missed my reading, but you probably managed to hear some of this conversation at least, so you got something out of it.
Yeah. Codex is my friend.
Is he in the fun zone too? Want to join the fun zone, Codex chap?
I think that you and her have very, very different perspectives on what her fun zone is. Her fun zone requires a lot of carnal knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't get that. That went over my head. Or under it, as the case may be. Codex ran away from my fun zone. It made him uncomfortable. No comment. Uh-oh. Aspiring chap turned up too. I wonder if let's meet something. No? Oh
yeah.
The calendar just turned up for Sunday. I don't know what that amuses me.
Codex, do you feel comfortable with? So Trip told me the story of your guys' bet. May I tell Valerian about it? Oh my
god! No comment. Nice weather we're having. It's very bright and sunny at the moment. Way to put that out there, she says. He says, whatever. Oh, yeah, I better get my lunch. Let's see. All right, I'll listen while I'm getting my lunch.
I won't discuss exact details. They made a bet for Mr. Codex to write something outside of his comfort zone, and he kind of had to back away because it didn't quite work.
Oh, I remember something about this. He was going to write one of her dirty stories for her, but then he decided not to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well,
it was relatively public on the server, actually. Never mind.
That would be quite interesting.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no wonder he didn't do it. Yeah, I wouldn't have done it either.
I didn't know the details beyond BDSM erotica. So that it was basically like she told me that, like, yeah, I'm gonna ask him to do that just to see if he's gonna do it. But then she was like, yeah, he didn't quite feel comfortable with it. So no breaches of trust here. So breaches of trust happens. So don't worry. Alrighty.
He could. Yeah. If it had been me, I probably would have cheated.
How would you have cheated? She would have asked to read it.
Well, I mean,
steal some fanfic from the internet. Maybe go to Archive of Our Own.
No, I don't know what I would have done. I would have somehow not done it, but pretend that I had.
Yeah, I think the idea would be you would not make that bet to begin with, or if you did, you would have set very clear win conditions on your end.
Yeah, like BDSM will be as defined by me. And then I would have had a character named BDSM in the story, and it would have been. Then BDSM played with the bunny rabbits, and they went and picked flowers. Maybe not. Maybe something better than that. I would find something better than that, but.
Okay.
Something better than that, but something similarly not what she had in mind.
After reading some of your stuff, I'm just like, yeah, probably you could. That would not be very hard. Or it would make everybody in the room hard. I think he actually might. Wissia, for all that he is a horny boy, I think that he has certain limits. Alrighty. So, let me just take a quick recap of what has happened in the second Dragonstrife so far. What has happened is the characters have now been separated by a massive storm after the prince has fled from his evil sister who is trying to murder him, as they are the only other heirs to the throne that she is at least worried about, since her little sister is very much just an engineer and isn't interested in politics and just says politics is boring. I'm going to build a canal. That's actually useful. I'm actually going to do something useful with my life.
Okay. So we're back in Bale and whatever that lady's name was who wanted to kill everybody.
Oh my god. Oh, we see is screwed, no doubt. Oh man, that's funny. Sorry, what was that, Valerian? I was reading the chat. I apologize.
Oh no, this is the one about Bale and whatever that lady's name was who wanted to kill everybody.
Chimera?
Yeah.
I think that you might appreciate that. It's actually, those two names are actually, there's a lot of Greek and mythology references.
So Chimera is a spin-off Chimera?
Yeah.
And Bale is a reference to
Bellerophon.
Bellerophon.
Yeah. His full name is Bellerophon. He just goes by Bale.
Oh, okay. Now Bellerophon, I'm trying to remember. What did he do?
He's the guy who killed the Chimera on top of Pegasus.
Oh. Okay.
And I have Persephone and Cerberus in there as well. And an Orpheus and Eurydice pairing. Only it's Persephone and Cerberus are a dragon and rider combo, and Orpheus and Eurydice are dragon and our dragon and rider combo as well. But I just thought I'd put some references in there.
Cool. Okay, yeah, they all have Greek names. I guess they all either have Greek names or Valyrian names.
True. I know that one of my favorite dragons has yes, I know, very original. I just thought that it would be fun, neat to have some Greek references.
Valerian equals Bale, she says.
Bale.
Yes, I think I will build when it comes to her Rothga thing. I think I will. Runaway screaming. Very original, John, says Nathan.
I know, not terribly original, but at least the nice thing is Bellerophon and Chimera are very, very rarely used as names. I actually don't see that many Greek mythology names being used in fiction. It's a lot of Arthurian myth stuff or Nordic names.
Yeah, Bellerophon, I think, is one of the relatively rare ones. If you use Perseus, it's obvious. Everyone will know. Well, I don't know. Hopefully, everyone will know who Perseus is. Maybe not.
Oh, I love the story of Perseus and Medusa.
Yeah. Or Hercules. If you name Hercules, anyone would know who Hercules is.
Where do I get my thumbnails? I get them from Shutterstock. I actually have a membership from them where I get 10 images per month for free. And they're copyright free.
Shutterstock, you said?
Shutterstock.
Shutter.
Yep.
Okay. I give very fun hugs, Valerian dear. Well, that's true. Probably.
Yeah, she gives good hugs.
I'm kind of rubbish at hugging. Keep 6 feet distant kind of thing.
Still going on with COVID rules?
Oh, actually, yeah, I do stick with COVID rules, but even before COVID, I keep people at 6 feet away.
I do. It's about $30 a month.
Yeah, costs money. Yeah, never mind then.
Yeah, that's why it's relatively nice, is because it's free to use. Well, they're much cheaper than commissioning or licensing, because sometimes commissioning can take at least $150 to $200 for one painting, and sometimes more. Sometimes even licensing can be extremely expensive. I had one guy who wanted about $1,800 for a licensing.
Yikes.
So I was like, yeah, I've got a measure of funds saved up, but that's a bit much.
That's a bit much. $1,800 is a bit much.
Yeah, I currently have 37K in my back pocket, but no, I'm not down. I'm not going to drop that much on just a painting. That would not work. That would be a little bit wasteful.
Yes, a little. I mean, it's not like you actually need illustrations necessarily. They're just for something like Dragon Blasters, they might be good because we can make it very entertaining that way.
Yeah, since the art for Dragon Blaster and Dragon Blaster Season 2 are both stuff that, no, I can't find this on Shutterstock. There is no possible frickin' way.
No.
All right. So, I think
No?
Yeah, Willow got canceled. At this point with Willow, I just want, with Wheel of Time and the White Cloaks destroy their livers. Yeah, these guys. I think yeah, I was like, yes.
I sort of forgot Willow existed.
Yeah, that's kind of an indictment. I'm just like, yeah, this one did not have any longevity.
Well, there we go.
Yep. Alrighty. Ready. All right. I think that it is time to start up. All right. Second Dragonstrife, Chapter 15, Caverns and Plots. Shard heard the noise like a small hurricane before Meraxia and the other dragons arrived. Calmly, he narrowed his eyes and pulled out his telescope so he could count the number of dragons. If there were 3, more than 3, that would likely mean the enemy had won. Only 2, and the sight of green and red scales made Shard relax somewhat. I presume they found the fugitives. He narrowed his eyes at the wounds of the dragons, then frowned when he realized the Medea was not there. Well, likely Medea is dead, which is to be expected. Out of all of the dragons put into the battle, she was the one that I would expect to die from our side. But I'd be relieved that only one dragon died. Though maybe she's only injured and recovering. If Talon is dead, my job will be significantly easier. Calmly, he collapsed the telescope and placed it inside his long jacket, then waved to one of his guards. Get a meal prepared for the Dragonlord and her family. A few minutes later, Meraxia and Tyrannus landed heavily on the tower, the maroon dragon snarling and hissing. They escaped! Chimera leaped off Meraxia's back and stalked past Shard. Pausing, Shard watched Chimera walk away, then glanced toward Karen, who seemed more subdued than his fiery wife. Face drawn, the other man slid off his own dragon's back and rubbed his eyes. They somehow knew we were coming, Karen explained. Their dragons attacked right as we were about to ambush him. And while the larger dragons engaged us, they had Bale's little brats burn our ships. They won? Shard raised his eyebrows. They might as well have. Karen grimaced. We lost Medea and Talon. Good. Along with the other, over half our pursuit ships. Not good. What did they lose? Shard inquired. 2 dragons. Iron shook his head, seeming mentally drained and exhausted. And Shard made a circular motion with his finger. That's it. Karen clenched his fist. How is that possible? Shard asked. Some unnatural storm appeared out of nowhere and blew them away while sending us back to shore. I've never seen anything like it. It was as if some storm god grew tired of the battle and thrust us apart. Gods aren't real, Shard said flatly. But Karen's words were puzzling. You're sure that this storm blew them away? Yes, the gale was so intense that I didn't see much beyond what was below me, Karen sighed. I know it's hard to believe, but our ships are still being repaired down south, and the only casualty we suffered was Medea. They weren't able to swarm us and destroy our fleet, and they didn't kill us. Shark tilted his head, then nodded slowly. So they've gone, and there is no way to discover where they fled to. Yes. Karen breathed out slowly and walked past Shard. Pursing his lips, Shard waited until Karen was gone before walking down the steps of the castle. A freak storm, Shard thought, running his gloved hands along Dark Fate's black hilt. An impossibility, but perhaps the world is a tad larger than I thought it was. Though maybe there is some sort of explanation for that. Admittedly, there were very few explanations that weren't rational for Chimera not utterly destroying the entire fleet. And Chimera might believe that nonsense about the Battle of the Seven Suns, but admitting to being defeated was something she was almost physically incapable of. Not fully ready to believe it began considering this kind of madness, Shard wandered through the castle until he finally reached the training yard. Not wanting to get ruin his clothes with too much sweat, Shard stripped down to his shirt and set his coat aside before drawing Dark Fate from his scabbard. Taking a deep breath, Shard looked down at the ancient sword of Darien the Peacemaker, the black blade and hilt, somewhat at odds with the man who had carried her. It seems that a strange thing that a man so dedicated to peace wielded a sword that is now associated with the best swordsman in the realm. Shard swished the blade through the air and made a few practice strikes. Closing his eyes, he created an opponent in his mind. and down to the last detail. Finally, he opened his eyes. His opponent cleared. Finally, he opened his eyes. His opponent cleared his mind. With a deep breath, Shard started attacking, his imaginary opponent countering each of his strikes before driving it back. Right as his opponent lunged at him, Shard spun out of the way and slashed at his imaginary opponent's leg, only to have him block with a spinning parry. Shard backed away, holding it up in a single-handed guard stance. One thing he appreciated about Dark Fate was how light it was. Very few swords like Dark Fate existed, since the style of slightly thinner blade, along with the intricate circle guard around the crossguard, was not suitable for hacking through armor like a monster like Judgment would be capable of, or even Darkfire. He was actually glad it had been made for Darian's mother before him, since it was a lighter weapon that made skill the primary attribute needed to utilize the sword effectively. Finally, he concluded the fight with a careful disarm and a stab through the neck. After a flourish, he spun the sword through his fingers. Shard prepared to sheathe the weapon, then paused and kept it in his hands. Now what? He thought as he picked up his jacket and slid it onto his arms. Bale is gone, probably for good. Chimera is going to implode, leaving an opening, and Irene is going to be my wife by the time I place her on the throne. Everything is going according to plan, but why don't I feel ill-fulfilled now that I've essentially won? Pursing his lips, he sat down and rested Dark Fate's tip against the stone so that he could look through the intricate metal lacework around the crossguard while his hand gripped the hilt. Perhaps my satisfaction isn't complete because I don't have supreme power in the realm yet. He rested his arm on his knee and swung it loosely as he turned the blade around and around like a child's spinning top. But technically, I am. The seat has been secure only for the past few hundred years, with Odin and Darian uniting the lines of Megara and Arion. Most of our history since the First Dragonstrife has been war between Dragonlords, and now there's less land to squabble over. No one wants to risk it being utterly destroyed by dragonfire. What did he want? What was left for him? He had Chimera in the palm of his hand. While she was volatile and probably insane, he could aim her at whatever target he wanted. A thought occurred to him. For a moment, Shard's hand tightened on his sword as the memories of that secluded room surfaced in his mind. Then, as he thought through his plan, a slow smile crossed his lips. A cold, humorless smile. A smile that spoke of murder to come. Wonder rising inside her, Persephone glanced around the cavern city as the army spread out through the wide corridors of the mountain. Even Cerberus was amazed. "This place is marvelous," he remarked, swishing his long spiked tail like a entranced cat as he aired around at the red obsidian walls. "I don't think anybody has seen a place like this," Persephone said quietly, placing her hand against the wall, amazed at how beautiful and smooth it was. This was the second lair of Echidna, after all. It makes sense that the home of a goddess would appear otherworldly. "Maybe that's why I feel so at home here," Cerberus prowled out of the tunnel to get into the open air of the massive cavern, then leaped toward the massive ceiling. Persephone looked down from her vantage atop her dragon's back, marveling at the huge city that spread out through the mountain. The houses and palaces of the same material as the hallways dotting the entire cave system. Unlike most obsidian that Persephone had seen, the stuff that this whole place was made out of didn't have a random pattern. The colors were perfectly geometric, no blotches or irregularities, triangular lines on the top, opposite pillars holding up the roof, alternating black and red with lines of gold running along the floor like guiding paths. Regretfully, they had to leave the air once they were sure the place was abandoned. Cerberus prowled through the streets while Persephone glanced around to examine how everyone was doing. The orcs started settling throughout the buildings in the cavern, though there was little in the way of comfort besides what they brought with them from the ships. And the little that Persephone could see inside the houses, all that was left of whoever had lived there of centuries or even millennia ago, were the remains of old mattresses, a few blankets, some paintings, and a few old pieces of metalwork. What happened here? Cerberus asked, silver eyes flicking from house to house. I can't say I ever learned about this group of humans. This used to be the great fortress city of Cardolan. Persephone smiled as she recalled her grandmother's stories. It had always been more fun to listen to Hera describe all the battles and wars of Aemon Darkfire and Vagar than any long, boring lecture her stuffy tutors had given. My grandmother told me that all the wars that Aemon waged on behalf of High Queen Alisani to unite the realm under one ruler. Rune fell once Aemon unleashed Vagar on the Easterlings, and Alisane set up Tristan to be king over them along with his dragon. Only Cardolan held out against the strength of Aemon and Vagar, not because of their army, since they had no dragon, but because they had this as their retreat. No matter how Vagar raged and burned, the mountain and its gates stood strong against her. Instead of trying to blast his way in, Aemon set to starving the Cardolini out of their mountain. But despite his efforts, their stores held strong for decades due to this strange system of mirrors reflecting sunlight into special spots designed to produce food. Ingenious. Cerberus flicked his tail. I think that we could probably still see scorch marks from where Vagar burned the mountains. Persephone smiled at the thought of seeing such a marvel as the ancient scorch marks left by the legendary Black Terror. It's kind of funny that the very kingdom that Vagar terrorized for decades became her home for centuries, at least when she wasn't in Althea. That was after the death of Echidna and Lilith, right? Cerberus tapped to the ground with his huge claws. Yes, exactly. Persephone patted her dragon affectionately on the neck. After Echidna forced Arion to betray her Megara and his wife, Queen Nerea, killing her and her dragon Helios, he fled, building up this area as a tributary kingdom without being fully subservient to the Dragonlord in the south. Cerberus bared his fangs and shook himself as she scratched his neck. I think that we should explore a bit, maybe see what kinds of powers still lie here from the ancient days. He narrowed his silver eyes. I feel something drawing me downward into the mountain. Persephone blinked, then let her mind drift back from the past to the present. It was as if a rope were tugging at her, leading her down toward the shadowy pits that led deeper into the mountain near the edge of this mountain city. Cerberus growled as he took off again, his eyes searching for a large enough hole or downward passage. Blinking, Persephone slipped into her dragon's mind as he flew through another passage into an even larger cavern, with a large drop-off over the edge, a large open expanse of stalactites and stalagmites coming from above and below, sometimes meeting to form unnatural pillars hundreds of feet tall. I think we need to go down that way. Persephone gave Cerberus a mental nudge toward the open cavern, causing the dragon to turn in the air and fly in toward the open expanse. Slowly they flew through the pillars and dexterously flew around the pillars, descending deeper and deeper into the mountain. Do you think that there's actually something down there? Cerberus asked, turning to the right as the pull started directing them that way. They quickly came to a large abandoned castle built into the wall, several levels of the city expanding outward through the cavern and then upward. Persephone and Cerberus flew downward to the city, the orange webbing on his wings catching the strange, ever-present light down here. As they approached, they saw that the city had several scorch marks scattered throughout, though strangely only in clawed footprints on the stones, too large for a human, but too small to be a dragon. Cerberus landed atop a large house, the stones holding firm under his weight. Gracefully, the black and orange dragon climbed down from the side of the building and prowled along the streets, his long claws clicking against the rocks as his head swiveled around. "What kind of city is this?" he asked. Long serpentine head swiveling in all directions. "I don't know, Persephone." He started stroking him soothingly, though she was probably more nervous than her dragon. Whatever it is that's drawing us here seems to be coming from over there." She pointed at the opening in the center of the wall near the back of the city. "It looks like it's a temple of some kind." Cerberus nodded, a rumble coming deep from inside his chest as if he were preparing to blast anything that came at them with fire. Feeling rather comforted that she had a giant fire-breathing lizard as her best friend, Persephone leaned back in her saddle as Cerberus prowled into the mouth of the cave and into the shadows beyond. And I think that's it. Thoughts, comments, questions? Hello, you're muted, Valerian.
Oh, you're finished already?
Yeah.
Let's see. So they're being drawn down there by something. Presumably, possibly some kind of magic. And Persephone, I don't remember. Is Persephone another one of Hera's daughters or something?
Persephone is Hera's granddaughter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's Baal's youngest kid. They got separated during the storm. She flew out in the middle of the battle, but she was separated from everybody else by the storm.
Bother. Oh, and the storm. There might be something dodgy about the storm too.
Yeah, it was created by the Pale Maiden, which is this seemingly divine being, and nobody can quite figure out who she is or what she is. There are theories based on the fact that there used to be goddesses around, but nobody really knows if any more exist, since Megara Godsbane killed the last two remaining ones.
Yeah.
They don't know if there are more of them around.
So that's what Shard was saying about the gods.
His idea is that he has a very secular view and doesn't believe they exist at all. They existed, period. Yeah, he's very much just a very secular atheist type.
Yeah, he would be. So be interesting twist if it turned out to be real after all.
Well, they're technically we know technically that they are, since we've seen the Battle of the Seven Suns and the what happened at the and what happened at the storm, where some ethereal being, since we saw the little girl warn Baal and then create the storm.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of much else. Let's see, because that's what I'm remembering. I'm remembering mainly. Oh, Shard wants to kill people.
Yes, very specific person. Yeah, very, very specific person.
Hmm. So why does he want to?
There's a hint in there, but I'll tell you, he wants to kill Matriana very much.
Who?
The lady that his girlfriend had a threesome with, that he kind of perceives as it being an attempt to humiliate him. You remember that
Oh,
bit?
I
That's
remember there was some weird sex scene, and he was not happy with it.
mm,
He wasn't. He was not into it.
no, no, he was not, and he's very intelligent, but he's exceptionally petty, and he doesn't forgive or forget certain things.
Okay, so he's actually not doing it for power, then.
No, it's more in the line of, I really hate you for personal reasons, and I am going to enact very precise and exact vengeance upon you.
Oh, well, at least it's precise then.
Yeah. Yeah, with Bale, that was kind of just just whatever whatever happens, happens. And so long as I'm not getting my hands directly messy with this, it doesn't really matter. This, though, he's willing to get his hands a little bit dirty with.
Okay. Well, that sounds intriguing.
Yeah. He is going to wait for quite a while for it to fully come to pass, though. It's going to be about 10 years before he fully enacts his vengeance.
Bother.
All right. Well, I think that we're probably going to call it good there. I might experiment with doing Writer Showcase a little bit earlier. I'm gonna have to figure out how to use the system. But I know for next week it's going to be on Sunday. But we'll call it good for today. Thank you all for coming, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.